Okay, that's fine. People can talk crazy about me. That's fine. They should express themselves, and they have a right to. But I also get to say whatever the fuck I want about you now.
Hey, so this is Ryan at emeraldsun.net. It's the 8th of November, 2023. And topic comes up in my life, and it's been going on. I'd say I've been making videos about lie detection, sincerity, truth detection, and gossip, things like that, since 2011. I've addressed the issue of gossip for a lot longer than that. And this leads me to this topic, is why I started getting into the internet to begin with. I'm just interested in systems in general. I'm a systems person. I like engineering things that work together in puzzles and things like that. But beyond that, beyond the fact that I enjoy programming and building computers and all that, when I was a kid, there was no internet. We had bulletin board systems. This was in the 80s, and I would build little makeshift computers from thrift store parts. I had a cousin who was into Commodores, and this same cousin inspired some of my affection for lie detection. And anyway, the story, the long story that I'll make short is after, I don't know, about 10 years of bulletin board systems where it was completely anonymous. You know, I had a handle alias called Minor Threat, which is one of my favorite bands, Ian MacKaye and Minor Threat, Fugazi and all them. So I use that as my moniker, you know, and I would go on and talk politics, or I would talk about society, or I would talk about freedoms and rights, or whatever I was talking about, and it was anonymous. Nobody knew. And I was pretending to be 21 when I was 12, so I could hang out with the big dogs and go to their LAN parties and all this. And, you know, obviously I wasn't 21, but I kept I kept it up that I was, just to be accepted by the people that were of that age bracket and the people that I was learning from regarding coding and bulletin boards and networking and all that. So, yeah, I was a little liar. Anyway, the cousin that inspired me with computers also was, in my opinion, sort of a gossip, someone that would ruin other people's reputation by making big and exaggerated stories about him. And, you know, she would take a grain of truth and exaggerate. And she was 9 years older than me, but I witnessed this with her friends as I lived with her as a kid. Like, we grew up pretty close. And I would see her boyfriends or other people in her life, and the level of disrespect and disdain that she would present to people outside of their presence, compared to the lovey-dovey, or at least the respectfulness she would give them to their face. You know, it was just this two-faced thing that I couldn't stand. And that's a very Mormon thing to do, I would say. I think that's common in cliquey culture like that. Ireland, very gossipy place. I'd say Mormons are a very gossipy people. And I had, you know, certain family members that like to gossip. So when I would hear things about me, you know, throughout the years, you know, and it just happened, you know, people would throw these accusations here and there. I would just go to the internet and I would type out how I feel, like how I actually feel, like this is what I am about, like a journal, like Laura Ingalls in, you know, Little House on the Prairie. So I would say, okay, so gay rights, this is how I feel about it. And I would give, you know, the pros and the cons. And this is kind of how I operate. I'm a systems person, and I like research, and research always should consider pros and cons. And I typically put the pros and cons of all things, whether it be Donald Trump or whether it be cannabis legalization or gay rights. I try to be very neutral in my observation so that when I'm discussing it and presenting it, people can make up their mind based on facts that I present them, both pro and con. And, you know, I like people to make up their own mind. I always say, do your own research. That's my goal. So anyway, when I would hear bullshit about me, I would just go and I'd be like, so this is how I see it. In my mind, these are the pros, these are the cons. And I've done that for years. So eventually, because I thought it was kind of cowardly to not claim it, to not associate it with my name, I started making videos so that nobody could doubt whether it was me speaking, or whether somebody was improvising and saying things in my place and then, lumping that on me as if though I said it. And I had an in-law do that to me for a while, where he would pretend to be me and say things that weren't me to then point fingers at me and say, look what you believe. And, I also had this with somebody in my family who said, oh, you use the Old Testament in Leviticus to condemn gay people. And this was, 15 years after I made videos explaining why Leviticus and Numbers and all the books of Moses, all the laws of Moses anyhow, are irrelevant because of what it says in the Bible. I think it was Mark 18 anyway. It's about, and definitely Hebrews 7, about Jesus fulfilled the law through his sacrifice. The law no longer pertains to those who under grace through Christ. The law no longer pertains to them, which was a big reason that I really was interested in it. This right here, this tattoo, forgiven, that's all about the grace. I got this long time ago, and it's about grace. That's why I follow Christ. I, learned of his grace and his sacrifice and his love, and that's what convinced me. So I wouldn't believe both sides. I wouldn't believe that Moses's tyrannical laws and oppressive laws are valid while at the same time Jesus is valid. They can't both be valid at the same time. One can be fulfilled by the other, and then it doesn't pertain anymore. But they can't both pertain at the same time, in my estimation. So that's why I made videos over the years. And when she was like, well, you said this about gay people, that the Bible condemns them, and you use, this and that, and what, I'm like, okay, let me just direct you to those videos. And so that's one of the big reasons, because I am political, and I do like my say, my words to be, quoted accurately or used accurately, if they're going to be used at all. I don't want it to be bullshit. So I would say my piece and expose anything about me that I believe would ever come up. Say I was in a political race and I was talking to my opponent or whatever, and there needed to be something said about my past. For me, I've always wanted to be the one to say it myself, because with gossipers especially, and this is something I learned, like I said, from one of my family members, but with gossipers, they'll go to 2 or 3 people and say some shit that's just a grain of truth lumped on with a bunch of bullshit. And they know that those 3 people, if it's fantastic enough, if it's scandalous enough, those 3 people are going to go tell 3 more people each, till 9 people are now telling 27 people, and so on, and then it spreads like wildfire, some BS rumor. But if people had to be accountable for that, they wouldn't be gossiping so much. That's why people don't say it publicly. That's why they're happy to tell 50 people. They don't mind spreading people's business, but they don't like being called out, right? So they'll say it behind someone's back, but they won't say it to their face or publicly, and I just don't appreciate that. So I've been studying lie detection for a very long time. I wrote this book called The Transparent Future. If I can find it. Yeah, it's over here. And it talks about a future where lie detection is 100% accurate. Right now, they say some lie detection is getting close, upwards on the high end of 80% accurate. And with the rate of improvement of AI now, AI has never really helped the development of lie detection, but it's evolved from the polygraph to like 19 other different softwares and algorithms out there. And so, my book, The Transparent Future, and you can find this at emeraldsun.net. You can read it for free if you're interested. But it talks about a world in the near future that lie detection is 100% accurate and consumerly available, like in Walmart. You can go buy one for $10. So everybody can own lie detection that's accurate, that's 100% accurate, and it eliminates all the lies and all the gossip. So people actually have to do productive things with their day. Talk about big ideas rather than people, like it's fun and easy and whatever. It's great crack to talk about other people. How productive is that though? tearing down somebody else behind their back or whatever you're doing. Like, how productive is that? How does that help you? How does it help them? And how does it help society? So for me, like when I hear little details, little nitpicks of something, I try to make it a topic worthwhile so that more people can learn about it than just the 3 or 4 people arguing about the gossip, so that like with this topic, I could address 3 or 4 people that are into gossip and then only have those 3 or 4 people learn anything from this. But like with me, I like to make it a big picture thing. I like to talk about ideas, not people. So this idea of gossip, even though it has to do with certain people in my life, and has for years, decades even, but there's a bigger thing to learn about this. And one thing, and I think everybody should really pay attention, is that liars won't exist in the next 10 years. And like, for example, I'm making this video. If someone used that lie detection on this video, my estimation from the 19 different algorithms I've researched, voice is one of them. Eye movement is another. There's all these different gives that they research. And I think that AI algorithms will reduce those things to statistics and give a more accurate result that's easy to read. And it may even take the form of maybe not a device or like a phone, for example, but maybe a device like glasses. These smart glasses, for example, these will record and listen, record video and audio. And, like in Google Glass, you could have a screen here, and the screen would display whatever the Android computer is doing, whatever it's processing at the moment. It'll work just like a monitor. So see, like with these smart glasses do a lot of things. They have a little Android connection, like with my phone. So it uses Android, it uses Facebook. These are the Meta glasses or the Facebook stories or whatever. Anyway, so that's what I think that the lie detection is going to be built into, or augmentation, like a hearing aid, or something in an ocular augmentation, an eye augmentation, or whatever. And then liars will just not exist, because the processing of this information will be so quick that when somebody lies to you, there's going to be a little red flag, possibly literally a little red flag in front of your face saying, nope, that's a lie. Don't listen to that bullshit. And so nobody will have any motivation to lie anymore, because it will be irrelevant. It will be so easy to suss out and dispose of by everybody. So, when I've recorded videos, like with that Leviticus thing and things like that, it's nice to be able to say, no, I've got my position already stated very clearly. It's on the internet. You can see it from 10 years ago. I don't believe what you're saying that you say I believe. I believe this, and this is the proof of that. And this is consistently how I've been for all these years. Just like Laura Ingalls in Little House of the Prairie, right, in her journal. That's what the internet has been for me, and I'm grateful for it. Now, I have promised my lady that I won't be using social media very much anymore, because it has hurt her. It's hurt, it's probably hurt other people, that I'm just so blunt about things. And I say what's on my mind, and sometimes I say it publicly, and there's times where I shouldn't. I've just gotten so used to being an open book that I just say whatever I say and let the chips fall where they may. It's not what I want to do anymore. So anyway, I look forward to the day that lie detection is 100% accurate. I think people like Elon Musk have motivation to make that happen. And whoever does make it happen is going to be a quadruple bazillionaire. Everybody's going to want this technology. Nobody likes being lied to. So it's just around the corner. My job here is done, especially when that comes out and it's available to everybody. Things like what I talk about, trying to expose, deep state bullshit or lies in society or history, rewritten history that, isn't accurate. And I wrote this book about that too. Again, you can find these at emeraldsun.net. But Echoes of Power talks about how the Bible has been edited and how it's not complete and probably not accurate based on the editing. But all of this kind of stuff, will be solved by these technological advancements. There will be some dystopian effects. There will be some negative effects. I always try to talk about the pros and cons of things. And then, like in most of my videos, I recommend you do your own research. But it's going to happen. And, humanity won't waste as much time trying to figure out who's lying and who's not, or what's true and what's not, or what's sincere and what isn't. We waste so much time on that our species will advance to a new level by not dealing with lies anymore. That's my prediction. And then there's also going to be some government dystopian, totalitarian issues that I think we're going to have to deal with. But again, pros and cons. We have to look at it in both ways. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ryan. Like I said, disruptarian.com, or check me out at behindzioncurtain.com. My books you can read at emeraldsun.com. Or I'm sorry, emeraldsun.net. Again, this is me tuning out. Probably for a while now. Thanks for tuning in all these years. Take care.
You would be amazed at how many times I don't get a chance to just tell my side. And my side is always more interesting, because when I tell you my side, you're going to see how hard the other side works for their side to come out. I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. Nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long.